Hello, class. This is lesson 7, the final lesson of the semester. I'm going to hit on 3 topics. Before I get into that, one, I hope everyone's enjoyed this class. I've enjoyed running it for you, even though it's been asynchronous. And hopefully you've enjoyed. For those who have watched my videos, hopefully it at least added a little bit of a in classroom setting. I will also note the final exam will be a combination of the first 2 exams and then um, about 10 questions from this lesson. So might be slightly less than that, but in essence, the first 2 study guides, if you're on top of that, you should be fine. Um, so I'll get into it. There are 3 things I'm going to cover in this lesson. YouTube marketing, and really using YouTube as an example of marketing on video sharing platforms. YouTube being kind of the most popular, but there's Rumble and Vimeo, and then you have video sharing on Instagram and so forth. But I'm going to use YouTube as the kind of main focus for this discussion. And then I'm going to just go over integrating social media marketing with other channels. And throughout the semester, I've noted it a few times, kind of used the brand funnel a number of times. I'm going to just kind of reiterate at a relatively high level, but I'll get into that. And then I'll close with hashtags. I'll share a lesson or a story of mine that I have my own personal frustrations with hashtags. So I'm more cautious than others, but yeah. So I'll close out with hashtags. So let's get into YouTube marketing. Um, uh, One of the things, just like all the other platforms, right? You know, you're in essence creating video to meet some um, objective or goal. Uh, and so I always go back to know your customer, right? Think about your target customer. And you just have to imagine if you're creating video content, even as a content developer, if I don't know, you're wanting to create your own kind of celebrity around cooking, right? Like think about who your audience is. And if I have the example here, if you are creating videos to promote a service that you're offering small businesses to help them with their website, don't define it as just small businesses. Define it as small businesses that don't have a website, and even better, small businesses, that are in the construction business who don't have a website, and even better, focus on a geography. And what that does is it just helps you, when you're figuring out what you're going to create, starting out with a more focused approach, and then you can expand from there. And using the example of if you wanted to create a channel around cooking, right? Like focus into a certain type of food, right? And then create some success and then go from there, instead of a shotgun approach where you're trying to be discovered by anyone and everyone in the world. You're probably not going to be that effective, and you're probably going to waste a lot of time and have a lot of inefficiency. So again, I always go back to know your customer. You also have to think about what you're trying to achieve with your videos, right? And you can have, I listed out 4 goals here. Yeah, I mean, you could have all 4 of these, but you really need to think about um, what is that primary goal, especially if you're starting off, right? If you're working for a small business and they've asked you, hey, stand up our YouTube channel, um, you really have to think about, well, of all the things I could achieve with the videos and posting video content, what is my primary goal, right? And so I listed out 4. One is monetizing your channel. So this is a lot of content creators or using the you know someone who wants to start a cooking channel. You're really trying to drive engagement and subscribers to your channel. So your video content needs to create that hunger, um, and, and using the example of the cooking channel, right? Like hunger in the sense of, hey, you posted a great video about a super easy, healthy, delicious food. You want people to subscribe to your channel, so they can see additional videos, right? And get that additional content, um, because they're imagining that you're going to have more recipes. And so they want those recipes. The reality is, to monetize your channel, you need to reach a certain benchmark of subscribers and impressions and engagement. Now, once you do, then you become, um, a channel that can be advertised on, and so then you start making income from advertising. If the next three examples are more of what I would say are your traditional companies that are using YouTube, right? And I kind of broke it down into three categories: branding or brand building, product promotion, and then customer satisfaction. Brand building, what you're really trying to do is you're trying to create a, an impression. Video is a great way to create emotional perception of a product or a brand, or create a feeling, right? Like, um, text messages in comparison aren't a great way to make a feeling, right? So if you're running a text messaging marketing campaign, that's not really where you're going to create a following of a brand, right? That's more of a tactical, kind of lead gen, conversion mechanism. But videos and video, using a video sharing platform like YouTube is a great way to create that emotional appeal. And I used in all three of these examples, I'm using a YouTube videos from Home Depot. So the first one is with Shaq. And again, perfect example of, it's a short, perfect example of, um, using Shaq to create like that brand recognition with Home Depot, and it's entertaining. Ironically, you also see it's in a vertical format. So they're planning on you watching this video from your phone. And so that's why it's formatted that way. Then there's a product promotion, and that's really where you're using videos to highlight and drive interest of a product or service. And again, Home Depot has a good example of crown molding, and they're talking about that project to, in essence, get you interested in, buying, buying, buying the goods from Home Depot. And then customer satisfaction. Um, you know, I I use YouTube a lot for how-to videos, right? And so, uh, it's a great place for a company, that maybe has a complex product, like, uh, installing a refrigerator or whatever it may be. It's a great place to post how-to videos. Obviously, a lot of content developers develop how-to videos, but also a lot of companies do too. And again, using Home Depot as a, do-it-yourself, closet organizer, again, um, Home Depot wants you to install their products properly, so you're happy with it, right? If you install a closet and the doors don't close, even though it's technically not Home Depot's responsibility, like they would rather have you install it correctly so you become satisfied. Finally, I did, post a video, um, on how to grow your channel. It's a short video, but actually really, I think it's a really effective video in giving you further advice on, uh, growing a YouTube channel. Um, and so, please watch that. Next, getting into, integrated marketing with, or integrating social media marketing with other, channels. I'm going to hit on events. So, uh, really, if your company or a company you start working for is not using social media for its events and integrating with its events marketing team, uh, huge opportunity for you to step in and help out. And so, really, you should be using social media before the event. You want to promote attendance, involvement, drive excitement, target participants during the event. You want to post videos of it. Again, if you almost imagine the event itself is purely the impressions taking place at the event, by using social media, you're expanding those impressions way beyond the physical parameters of that event. And then after the event, you want to use social media to drive follow up, call to actions, help sales teams kind of drive additional leads. Um, if budget allows, you should be running boosting the post or running advertising with content that aligns with the event. Event organizers will sometimes give you, if it's a business event or a expo or conference, they'll give you the registered list of attendees. You can use that to target your ads. You can also pull a list from your CRM, target ads. You can create lookalikes. Now, remember, talked about this earlier in the semester. LinkedIn kind of changed its lookalike process, but nonetheless, uh, really, no one should be doing any events without social media integrated with them. So that would be my recommendation. And then integrating with email, call, text campaigns, direct mail campaigns, all of them apply. Um, what I've found really helpful is look at social media as a primer to the pump before those campaigns go out. So 2 weeks to 30 days. I would not try to do more than 30 days. I mean, I've just found, I mean, I would even say, a week before. But before those emails or those text campaigns or even the direct mail hits households, um, by running social media, you're in essence creating interest in that topic, um, uh, and the company, right? And even though social media by itself may not be a great performer in call to actions or converting, what it is going to do is it's going to get people aware of what you're promoting before those emails or those calls or those text messages or the direct mails hit people's households, right? And so, look at it as a great way to create that awareness and interest, and hopefully it will drive a more positive impact, and you'll get better results of, again, those emails or those call campaigns. Finally, integrating with paid search. Again, and I will say throughout all of this, I'm not saying not to put call to actions in your social media posts or your ads, um, because they will drive click-throughs to a website or capture leads on a form that a sales team can follow up with. I'm more just saying like how they can help other channels perform better. So paid search, so that's in essence, where you're buying keywords and phrases on Bing and Google. It is probably the best converter in digital marketing outright. But the reason for that is people already, like, at the point that someone's searching for a word or a phrase related to a product or a service or some topic, they're already aware, they're already interested. They most likely feel there is a problem they need to solve. Um, and often they're very, very close, if not already ready to buy, right? And so that's one of the reasons why companies spend so much money on paid search is it's a great, like, you capture that audience and they're ready to convert. The problem is, how do you get people to search for it, right? And so you can look at social media as a great way to create that awareness, interest, in essence, tell the target audience about a problem. They maybe don't even realize it is a problem yet, but it gives something to solve for, right? And then ideally they will go search for that topic or that phrase or even your company on Google or Bing or the other search engines, and um, and then it will drive conversions. The other thing about it is if you create a blog or you're creating articles with a kind of content marketing mindset, and posting them on social media, that can also help. So this isn't necessarily in paid search, but it can also help with your organic search ranking, because what it does is it increases the traffic of what they call backlinks, basically links into your website, and that just helps your ranking um, on the web browsers. And then finally, get into hashtags, and kind of like hashtags are almost like, and I want to quote me in this definition, but this is kind of how I look at them: is hashtags are almost like search words are to a web browser, hashtags are to social media platforms. They're keywords or phrases that basically help organize and help people discover content on the various platforms. You want to keep them short, um, easy to remember, relevant. Again, going back to your customer, like think about how someone may use hashtags or search for a word. And again, I always go back to it. The number one thing you can do in any marketing effort is really try to figure out who your customer is and put yourself in the mindset of the customer. Um, and I will also say hashtags are kind of changing a little bit. One of the things hashtags can also do is they can get you into a little bit of trouble. So here's a story I'll tell. Uh, I I was running a social media team for a large health insurance company, uh, and there was a major fire in California. Um, and our company had approved to basically give everyone in the zip code of the fire free access to our online health system, because people lost their prescriptions, or people who needed care, who could utilize an online tool during this fire. We were offering it for free. Usually it would be like $50. Um, and so I wanted my team to put a post out, actually run an ad targeting targeting the handful of zip codes. We used a hashtag that was California wildfires. Um, well, at the same time on Twitter, the president of the U.S. posted a comment saying that uh, the hashtag or the fires were due to poor forest management. Now, could be absolutely true. I don't know. I've actually heard from some forest fire fighters that it could be possibly true, but whatever. That hashtag that he used was California wildfires. We used the same hashtag. Again, thinking like, hey, it's going to help it get, everyone's using this hashtag. But because that post was classified as disinformation and blocked, our campaign was blocked. And so we actually had to basically rerun it without the hashtag to get it out. And we were literally just trying to tell people, hey, this is free to you because you're in these zip codes and a horrible fire came through, and we're just, you know, however we can help you get care, you know, we're going to do that. So again, you do have to be careful with hashtags, and I put a note here. If they're associated with content that is blocked and you're using the same hashtag, your content may be blocked. I'll also say, again, hashtags are kind of changing. Um, my recommendation is look at, especially content where you have a good amount of words. And again, you should always try to minimize words wherever possible, but try to look at it from a standpoint of search engine optimization, because um, more and more the tools are actually looking at the words in the content, and as people go to search on those tools, um, just like web browsers do, they look for keywords and then they rank that content higher. So again, don't be truly dependent on hashtags. I also added a video of someone talking about changes on hashtags and Instagram. And again, kind of getting back to looking at content in terms of SEO. Um, it's there's some inappropriate language, but I think everyone's adults, nothing too bad. The guy's a little goofy, but it's a pretty relevant video, has a lot of views. I would look at the comments. Comments are also educational, but I think it does a good job of understanding or explaining hashtags in the past, kind of how they're performing and how Instagram has kind of changed them. Again, I'm personally not a big fan of using a lot of hashtags. I think a lot of executives think if there's not a lot of hashtags, the social media isn't performing well. I I again, just my own personal experiences. I've ran into more issues with hashtags than without, and so I'm more cautious when I and am running social media marketing to not go crazy with hashtags. But again, just like with anything, try it and track it and go from there. My final advice for the class, again, it's been an honor to teach social media marketing to all of you. I hope, um, well, most likely, if you're in marketing, if you start a career in marketing or you're continuing your career in marketing, you're going to touch social media. So hopefully, you're walking away with some tidbits in this class that will help you in your career, whether you are heavily focused in social media or it's peripheral to your day to day. At the end of the day, it's if you're in marketing, you're gonna touch social media in one way or another. So my final advice: um, know your target customer and align your social media accordingly. Um, the other, so that's like my number one, which I constantly tell you. I would also say um, when you're developing social media marketing programs or campaigns, think about what success looks like. Um, Draft out a story, right? Like how you think social media is going to help feed paid search, or if it's for an event, like how it's going to help boost impressions. Think through like, hey, this is this is a draft of this story of success. Think through it. There's a few things that will do that will help you think about like the type of analytics and the data that you're going to need or you're going to want to track to achieve that success. And just thinking through that will help you in so many ways. I know from experience where I've just fired up a campaign and then tried to figure out success afterwards, um, and it's tough. Whereas if I thought about like, hey, what is the vision of the ideal success and map it out and kind of waterfall out the experience, I find lots of times the campaign's more successful because I've put in all those steps and those metrics to measure it and get to that success. And hopefully that your story is a bestseller. Um, the other thing I will say is social media is rapidly changing. Even in this class, I've shared a few articles, just a lot. There's new players coming in. Like, who knows if TikTok's going to get banned in the US? I mean, there's just constantly changing. I would just constantly pilot different ideas with a vision to scale rapidly, right? So as you're piloting, think about like, hey, I'm spending $50 on this ad on this platform. If it works well, I can spend $5,000, right? And just think about like how you can rapidly scale, but always be piloting. because what works tomorrow may not work, not or what works today may not work tomorrow. And then uh, kind of aligned with that, uh, I've been heavily involved in the digital marketing space for over 10 years. I will say, whether it's social media or digital marketing, there is no one who's an expert in all of it. Like I've met some people who maybe talk as if they are, but it is just too big. Like I just like even if you hear some interviews with some like Mark Zuckerberg, and like some of them don't even truly understand the algorithms that are running their platforms, right? So keeping that in mind, um, and realizing that there are so many variables and so many tactical combinations, like just in this class, like all the different ways you can use social media, and whether it's reels or you're putting it in stories, or uh, carousel ads. I mean, there's just your hashtags, building custom audiences, lookalike audiences. I mean, there's just you just you can't think of all the possible combinations. And so um, just realizing what works today may not work tomorrow. I highly recommend you try your own ideas, right? I mean, follow the approaches that worked well for your company, or kind of best practices, but don't be afraid to deviate and try your own ideas. And then finally, and kind of just reiterating, know your customer, create a story of success, pilot, learn, and scale. Um, I would say that applies to almost all digital marketing, but especially in social media marketing. And with that, I wish everyone good luck. And again, uh, I'll post more announcements as we get closer to finals, but take this as the final lesson for the class. And don't hesitate to ever ask me any questions. If you're looking at a job and you're just wondering, like, um, kind of what is involved in the social media space or digital marketing or whatever it may be, don't hesitate to reach out. I'll try to help the best I can. And again, hope everyone has a great semester. Good luck in finals, and have a great summer. Thank you.